What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're playing Neera Wild Mage in Historic Brawl, or Brawl, whatever you want to call it, whatever Wizards decides this week they want to call it. Neera is a 6-mana, or generic blue-red Izzet commander, right? Legendary human elf shaman. A lot of text here, so give me a sec. Whenever you cast a spell, now keep in mind that's any spell. It's not instant or sorcery. Normally, Izzet cards care about instant sorceries, but this is whenever you cast any spell, you may put it on the bottom of its owner's library. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library, reveal a non-land card. You may cast that card without revealing its mana. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost, and put all revealed cards not cast this way on the bottom of your library in random order. This ability triggers only once per turn. So this is kind of like a top-end commander. What I mean by that is, obviously it's 6 mana, so it's not coming down in the early game. So we kind of have to build our deck in a way to, get ramp down to get Neera out maybe a little early, or just plan on Neera not coming down until later in the game and surviving until then, for lack of a better way of putting it. So I kind of built the deck to do both. Obviously in a 100-card singleton, you can't predict what you're going to draw, but there is plenty of ramp in the deck, as you can see with this ramp package right here. It's all of the 2-mana artifacts that add a mana, right? Even the tapped ones like Cold Steel Heart, which I've stopped playing over the last year or so because they're a little too slow. But we need it in this deck because we want to get Neera out. And then there's there's stuff like Lantern Revealing. Although this is, I'll touch on this card in a second, but this does 2 things. So it can ramp us though for 3 mana if there's a land on top of our deck. So, with Neera, what we're trying to stall until we get Neera out, and then we're hoping to cheat in some of our endgame stuff, right? So we got Shark Typhoon, extra turn spells. I won't go through all of them, but there's all the ones that could fit in here. Chmil the Inner Sun. This is just in Izzet colors, it's hard to remove certain permanents like enchantments, so Ugin is in here to take care of basically anything that's a colored permanent. Hullbreaker Horror, we all know this card, especially good in a Izzet deck with lots of instant speed stuff. Jin-Gitaxias, make them discard their whole hand. Hard for them to play the game if they don't have a hand. Omniscience, all of our stuff is free. So interesting about this card. Now let's reread it. You may put it on the bottom of its owner's library. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Cast. Which means we get the cast triggers from our Eldrazi. Because we're casting the card, we also get the Ugin here, exile 2 target permanents. Any permanents, we can exile their lands, or whatever is problematic on the board if they have like a lockdown enchantment or whatever, right? We also get Emrakul's cast trigger, right? So we get to take their next turn. So normally with decks that cast free spells, or maybe cast is the wrong word, cheat free stuff into play, right? Usually it's like reveal off the top of your library, put it on the battlefield. That wouldn't trigger these cards' cast ability because you're not casting them, you're just battlefield. With Neera, we actually do cast them. We get to cast them for free. We get the benefit of not having to pay 10 or 13 mana, but we also get the benefit of the cast trigger, so that's really cool. That's why they're in the deck. The rest of the deck is kind of a lot of dirtle, but the main strategy is scrying. So we want to manipulate the top card of our deck, right? Because with Neera, we're going to cast a spell and then determine if we want that spell to resolve, or we want to tuck it under our deck and essentially hit the next non-land card and play that for free. We kind of want to know what the next non-land card is. So like I talked about with Lantern Revealing, we can look at the top card of our library. If it's a land, we can ramp, right? If it's not, we may put it on the bottom of our library, but we don't have to. We can leave that card on top, right? And there's just a bunch of other effects that do that kind of stuff. Most notably Brainstorm, right? Draw 3 cards, put 2 from your hand back on top of your library. And then there's just a bunch of stuff that scries. I basically packed everything that I thought was a good scry effect into the deck so that we can scry. The tricky part was there's a lot of cards that say like scry 2 then draw 2. We actually don't want those effects because that you know, whatever's on top of our library is now in our hand, right? Normally that's good, but in this deck it's bad because we want that card to stay on top of our library. So Glistener Seer here, right? It comes down with 3 oil counters, then we can tap it, scry 1 essentially, right? So we get 3 free scries over the course of the next 3 turns, assuming it survives. It's also an 0/3, so it's a nice little blocker against aggro. So we want to scry without drawing the card, ideally, or if we're going to draw, we want to scry 2, draw 1, right? So that way we can put the spell we want as the second to the top and draw the top, right? It's kind of a weird strategy. So there's some weird cards in here, but like Witching Well is a good one, right? It's 1 mana, we get to scry 2. That's awesome in this deck. Play with Fire, 2 damage to any target. If we do it to the person's face, I believe. Yeah, if a player's dealt damage, then we get to scry 1, so that's fine. Again, it's 1 mana. Candy Trail, get to scry 2 for 1 generic. Just a lot of effects like that. And then we have 9 or so counter spells in here. I won't go through them all and bore you, but we kind of need them to survive until the end game. And then we have a bunch of bounce effects like Consuming Tide and River's Rebuke, things like that. Obviously, the One Ring's in here. Battlefire Frost is a board wipe and a scry 3. Right, so scry 3 is pretty nice in this deck. Again, all this is just so that we can manipulate the top card of our library so that when we cast our next spell, we can tuck that spell and know what we're going to hit. If we don't manipulate the top card of our library, then it's likely that we're just going to, like, we'll play, I don't know, let's just make an example. We'll play an Invasion of the Giants, we'll tuck it, and then we'll, like, hit a Candy Trail. And, like, that's not what we want, right? There's too many dead hits in this deck. Oh, it's even worse would be if we hit a negate, right? Because that's a non-land card or like a counterspell in our deck, which is possible. So in order to be able to like make it to the end game and actually hit something, we want to be able to manipulate the part of our deck. So that's essentially the strategy. I have never seen this card in the queue, so I'm assuming we're in B tier. And what I mean by that is we're not playing in like top tier, S tier hell queue, right? So we'll have hopefully a little breathing room to have this strategy work. We'll see. Every time I say that, it seems like they put me right in hell queue. We'll find out together. Typical mana base, I think we're running 40 lands total if you include MDFCs, so 35 actual lands and 5 MDFCs, which is, I think, the perfect balance. I was going a little MDFC heavy when I first made this channel. That's better for Commander, I think. Historic Brawl, you really don't want to go over 5. You don't really want to have too many tapped sources of mana. Format's just a little too fast. So that's the deck. Let's hop into the game. So before we do that, though, Neera was a viewer-suggested deck. So thank you for suggesting the deck. They joined the Discord. They submitted the suggestion in the requested deck channel. And now I built the deck and playing it for them. So if you have a deck that you'd like me to play, hop in the Discord. It's in the description. Request a deck in there, just hang out with the other homies from the channel. It's a good time. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Let's hop into the game. Sorry, that intro was a little longer than normal, but I felt like that deck required a little bit more explanation than the typical, you know, mono red aggro deck, if you feel me. Okay, make sure we're selecting the right deck, which I always have a tendency to not do. So again, we'll see what queue we're in. If we start seeing a bunch of commanders that are staples of the format, then we know we're in hell queue. If we start seeing a bunch of stuff that's kind of weird and off the wall, then we know we're in B tier. But I don't really think there's an in-between for this deck. I'd be surprised if we're in like anything higher than B tier if we're not in hell queue is what I'm trying to say. I feel like it's either hell queue or B tier. Just I don't know how I think I know how the matchmaker chooses people you play against. I think it's just basically based off your commander and then maybe like how many rares and mythics you have in your deck, but nobody really knows. So they put us in hell queue. It's definitely leans towards the argument of the amount of rares and mythics in your deck, because there are a lot of rares and mythics. So Obnixilis doesn't necessarily mean we're in hell queue, but I have seen it in hell queue. But it's not like a top tier deck, so maybe we have hope. I don't know why this land is the deck. I thought I took that out. Okay. Go first. Brainstorm's nice. We really don't want these in our opener, though. That is the tricky part with top-end decks, like with lots of haymakers, and you kind of end up with them in your hand. But we get to go first, and we have a couple ways of scrying out of this, and we can tuck these with Brainstorm if we get a fetch land, so I guess we... If we had a fetch land, this would be a perfect hand, because we could Brainstorm, tuck these, go from there, but... all good. We can win without perfect hands. We don't need... What are they? That's right, Obnixilis. So there's a lot of, like, I think infinite combos with Obnixilis, so... we could stop drawing our 6-man spells, that would be cool. So... that doesn't really do anything against that. I guess we'll just... we probably should have brainstormed and saw if we got a fetch before we made our land. I think we'll just pass. Not really worried about the 1-1. We can always do that turn. We can always do that play next turn. A lot of people will say, oh, well, you should brainstorm now because it's instant speed, blah, blah, blah. That's sometimes true, but I think in this situation, we really want to tuck some of this stuff, and so it would be better if we did it in our main phase so we could see if we had a land that we could crack. Okay, or we just draw Rixus Study, so that's fine. They're in Rakdos, so they're not going to have a lot of ways of interacting with Rhystic Study, if any, unless they pack to feed the Swarm in their deck. It's kind of like the only way for Rakdos to deal with an enchantment. This is going to give us a lot of value. We are going to have to... I mean, we have Flood of Tears, so as long as we don't die before we get to 6 mana, we're there. We have a way to counter their commander. So we can do this and counter their commander. We'll get a Scry 2 on our next... for our next... I think it's the beginning of the main phase is actually the way... yeah, I think it's... beginning of main. So, we're still... I mean, they have 3 creatures, but they're all 1/1s, so... nothing too bad. I'm assuming they're going to play their commander, I don't know. That's also a good card to counter. Let's make them pay the 1. You can't. Draw a card. The reason we want to do it in this order, just as muscle memory, is in case we didn't have a counterspell we could draw into one before it resolves. But we already had one, but just muscle memory to order that the right way. No Shield Grid. That would have been a bad card. Pick a treasure. Okay, we got another counter. Nope. A little early for you. Okay. We do want that land. I'm just putting this down as a blocker. I guess we could brainstorm now. So let's put you and you back. Put like that. Now we have counterspell mana up. That was nice. Don't want to play this because then we won't be able to counter their commander. In this deck, I'm really mainly worried about keeping their commander off the battlefield. Obviously, Rakdos has a bunch of really great stuff, and so they're like the Shield Grid might be other things that we want to counter, but I'm really... this needs to die. Oh, it's got Menace. Oh, in this they want to die. Can't be blocked. I mean, I guess we can just do this. Right? That's fine. They're missing land drops. Okay, so again, we want them to pay for it since they have treasures. So they're not paying, so let's draw. Know what was on top. Do we counter Fable of the Mirror? Probably. There's an argument to God Pharaoh statue since they're so low on mana. I mean, they have ways of making treasures. Okay, now we're definitely God Pharaoh statuing because they got rid of all their treasures. It's okay. We might not even need to use Neera because we're already at 6 mana. Yeah, I think we just plop this. I think that's gonna do it because now their commander costs 6. They can still make a treasure with Professional Facebreaker, but they're way off of their game plan. And then we can bounce everything, including their treasures, right? All non-land permanents, yeah. They just sacked their treasure.
Play nice, they say. The more, the messier.
Alright. So we can play Neera now, but... And we can also bounce our Rhystic Study so that we don't take Orcish Bowmaster's damage. Oh, I guess it bounces this too, but still. We're almost at Omniscience. Oh. Phase Orcish Bowmaster. Professional Facebreaker. Booming Tide is nice. How much mana? The land would have been really cool. We don't really want a Rhystic Study because Orcish Bowmasters is down. How much mana do we have? What? 7? 7. So we can Mind Stone and God Pharaoh statue. I think that's the play. I think they can get their commander down next turn, but that's it. If they attack with Facebreaker, make a treasure, cast their commander. Okay, so they don't do that. They're just going for the aggro strategy. Treasure. Okay. This will allow us to manipulate the top card of our library. Our health is super low. This is a nice blocker, if nothing else. Right? Although they probably have a bunch of removal in their hand. We have 2 timeouts, so we're not in a big rush here. I guess we can play Neera and Treasure Map. And that's probably the best use of this turn. And if they kill Neera, it is what it is. We still have God Pharaoh statue down. I don't think we're dying next turn. We could also just activate Neera here. We don't know what's on top of our library, but it's probably better than Treasure Map, right? Fingers crossed. They might have a removal spell here, instant speed. They have mana up. But it's not going to stop this trigger from resolving. Kind of missed their window there. Do we want to do this? I kind of feel like the answer is yes. Sure. Yep, that's a better spell. in this situation right now. Okay, so the commander still costs 6. I think this has to do damage, right? But it has menace. For Conrad, okay. That's their whole turn. Make a treasure. No lands. They didn't remove my commander. We can kill the Orcish Bowmasters and get down Rhystic Study again. We could play Double Vision and do this twice. That's probably a good call. Yeah. We're gonna decline here. We want Double Vision. Sir Conrad is a combo piece. I think we just really want lands at this point. We already have the mana. We can cast that. Really want... We don't really have anything great to go with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but yeah, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what we need. Oh, that hurts. So, do we die? That is the question. Technically, this can ping us to death, right? Okay, so they're hoping they hit creatures to try to kill us. That's fine. Okay. Oop. We could cast this and get Neera's trigger. We could cast Consuming Tide and bounce all non-land permanents, but I think that hurts us more than it helps us. We can cast this, the trigger. Let's do that. I think we're kind of in desperation mode. Oh, yeah, sure. Yep, that'll do it. Uh-huh. Rhystic Study. Iron Crag. Hopefully they don't have a shock on the top of their library. Because we are at death's doorstep. I probably shouldn't have even attacked, just in case they had like a hasty menace creature. Just completely possible in Rakdos colors. Burn down the house. Okay. Those 3 devils. Oh, it does it. Yep. But see, I would have died anyway. We'll give him a good game. That was close. I would have died anyway because the devils, when they die, do 1 damage to any target. So they had the perfect card. You almost got there. There's probably a better line or several better lines in that game. It's a weird deck to play, but we were very close. If we didn't die that turn, I think we would have won that game. So came down to the wire. Sometimes they just have the perfect card. So even as a even when we don't know what the top card of our deck is, Neera's still good value, right? It's just that we could hit a Nulamog or we could hit a counterspell, and it could be awesome like it was, or it could be awful. But we at least survived to the end game, you know, part of the game where we wanted to cast Neera. So the deck is doing the thing. We just need to hit better stuff and not get down to 2 life, ideally. Nicol Bolas. Yeah, I mean, this is feeling like Hell Q, or maybe like AQ, right? Kind of surprised. I've never seen Neera ever on ladders. Right. I think we'll be able to somewhere in there get a fix our mana. Perfect. Never didn't have it. How's the card that ended us last game? Is this a island? It is. Nice. Sure. Give them something to target with their handful of removal. So this guy, essentially, if they get it down, we lose the game. That's kind of the thing. We do have a lot of ways of countering their Bolas, but what is this? Opponent contradict. Oh, that seems real fair. Okay. It's insane. 1 mana, huh? 2 mana to activate wizards. Need the land. Lantern, so they're just ramping into Bolas, so we really need a counter spell. I think they have Bolas mana right now. Oh, and then they're doing Grixis stuff where they're stealing things. I have a counter spell. Yeah, I think it's like this. Probably just gonna slam Bolas. That's what I would do. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana value 3 or less this turn, copy that. That's too bad. We cannot take advantage of that. I guess we can foretell this. Pass the turn. Steal a card from my library. Hopefully it's like a stun counter or something. Yeah, this is a really good card. I need to put in more decks. Like it in Dragon. It's such a good Rakdos card. Okay. Got the Scry effect. It's definitely not the worst thing they could have gotten, especially with all that mana. Not playing their commander. Do damage to anything. Doing it right now. So we have things to get back in the game. This also does it to each planeswalker, but it come down with 7 loyalty starting, which is tough. But we need to keep up Disdainful Stroke. gonna keep stealing cards from my library, getting free card advantage, as alchemy cards are designed to do. So if they have a counterspell in their hand, I mean, I think we can just scoop it up because we're not coming back from this. Maybe I'll give it a turn or two, but it's pretty oppressive. Gildred, that's the worst thing. Not great, but it's the worst. Burn down the house kills it. They are still not playing their Bolas. Insane. They are really waiting as long as possible. I mean, at some point they're just gonna be able to beat me down with these creatures. So fair play to them, you know. Not a lot of players are disciplined enough to hold back their, favorite card and just predict that the blue player has an answer. Look at all this mana they have. Crazy. They built their deck really well. Tons of mana and then free card advantage, right? Take cards from the player, like you're playing against. We can take 8 here. I mean, I guess we don't have a choice because it's menace and flying, but I was thinking about whether or not to block, but we don't have a choice. But they built their deck really well. I mean, yes, it's full of alchemy cards. I mean, I guess we just have to counter that, right? But why is it lighting up like that? Are you sure you want to counter this? Why would I not want to counter it? What? See, that's... Is there something uncounterable? Is there... Did they cast it with Cavernous Souls? Rogue. It's a rogue. Got it. Okay. Don't have a choice. I was like, why is it... I know that when it lights up gold like that, it means that it can't be countered, but I was like, this doesn't have a clause about not being able to be countered. We can still wipe the board with Burn Down the House. I would just like to have 2 mana so I could hold up Disdainful Stroke. We got a Disdainful Stroke that. Counterspell. Put a card for free back in your hand. Sweet. Alright, on to the next one. Yeah, like I said, they built their deck really well. I mean, no props to them. Ton of alchemy cards though, which... You know how I feel about that. It's real easy to build your deck with tons of value if you have a bunch of alchemy cards. So like, I give them props, but with like an asterisk. Not that I don't put a couple alchemy cards in my deck too. It just doesn't taste right. Anos the Toymaker. Whenever you cast a beast or bird creature spell, you copy it, except the copy is an artifact. Okay, so this is the B tier kind of stuff I was talking about, although Simic is never to be taken lightly. Sure? Cool. Sweet. Did I take like 1 second too long on deciding on my opening hand? That's insane. They want to play their beasts and birds now. Don't make me wait. Another Simic deck. Investigate, you may play an additional land this turn. And then whenever Kellen attacks, destroy up to 1 target artifact if you hold that permanent drop card. Okay. Maybe it's like blow up your own clues. Alright, we go second. We have ramp. I think this is a good hand, given that we have lantern, because all of this is just lands and ramp, but this one actually allows us to look at the top card of our library. So if we have nothing else to do, we draw into nothing else, we can at least lantern. And I think 1, 2, 5, 6. We have enough mana to cast Neera with just the cards in our hand eventually. Get there. Tap lands, it's a tap land. Okay. We did the thing. That's a good card. Doesn't really help us against artifacts, but it is a good card. So, I guess... Yeah, I mean, not under any pressure, so it doesn't feel bad to dock in the land and put down... Right? Too bad we can't do both of these. Would have been nice if I drew this first, because then we could, if I had the Iron Crack in my hand, we could do both, but we cannot. So I think it's Lantern, given that it has more value. Oh, we can do both. Never mind. If we do it in that order, we can do both. It's early in the morning. My brain's still turning on. So I've never played against this card either, so I'm just kind of assuming the way their deck works. Like they attack me and blow up an artifact if they want, or they can blow up their own and draw a card. That's fine, they can blow up my ramp piece. They might just blow up their own clue though to draw a card. I mean, that kind of seems like that's the point of the deck. They're gonna blow up my ramp piece, okay. Not sure why they chose that one of the 3, because Lantern definitely has more value. So, in this matchup, we can just play our commander and then start casting free stuff, right? We can also Ugin here and kill their commander. That worth it? I don't think so. I think we just play Neera. It's a Simic deck, so they don't really have removal. Maybe they have a counter spell. Okay. Sure. I mean, that is a good play in the sense, even though they lock down their whole turn, they can blow up more of my mana rocks if they want and try to keep me off playing Neera again. But I have a lot of lands in my hand. Not the worst thing in the world. Treasure map. Treasure map's decent, but kind of need a way to get rid of their board. So yeah, not great right now. So I think we'll just do that.
When you understand reality, you
Yeah, it's whenever it attacks,
understand
which is
yourself.
really annoying. It's not deals damage to a player. This has a trigger when it dies, right? Shuffle into his own owner's library and scry 2. I guess we gotta get rid of the 5/5 though.
Bathe in ghost fire.
Alarm going off. Okay, blow up my mana rock, kill my planeswalker. Makes sense.
Planeswalker.
Do nothing with 6 mana open. Okay. Would you like to counter my witching one? We'll just keep up Disdainful Stroke. I'm kind of worried about if they're going to flash something in. Don't. They spent a whole turn not casting anything? That's so weird. Yeah, probably need to not let that resolve. Given that we can't really get rid of it once it's on the battlefield and they have 24 life. Blow up my Witching Well if they want. I was gonna say, you probably want to start doing your own stuff, though. Isn't that the point of the deck? Vision. Okay. It's an enchantment, so you can't blow it up. Counterspell? Okay. I figured that's what they were holding on to. Blow up my Witching Well. If they didn't blow up all my mana rocks, we'd actually be able to cast Emrakul. I'm surprised they haven't played more artifacts. I would have thought this deck would have wanted to like play a bunch of little trinkets like clues and treasures and things like that so they could attack every turn with Kellen and draw extra cards. But haven't been doing that. So we don't have anything to do except for scry with Prismari Camp. Deseret. I forget what this one does. Great Thopters.
Sends his regards. It is the ideal subordinate.
Fur? Definitely. In top deck. We're 2 lands off of Emrakul, which I think completely changes this game, but I don't know if we're going to survive that long. Actually, we definitely won't survive that long, because one more hit from their commander and we're dead. This has to be a good draw. Burn down the house would be amazing. Nah, that ain't gonna do it. Alright, on to the next one. When the viewer suggested this deck, Discord, I did tell them that like it's tough with cards like this that are really cool, but like they have cool abilities, but they don't make an immediate impact when they battlefield. Like a tally would be a good example, right? It enters the battlefield, you get to heal a card, all those types of things. Like it has immediate impact, So even though it's 7 mana, it comes in and it has impact right away. So cards that are like 5, 6, 7 or more mana and don't have immediate impact tend to not do really well in this format. They're probably fine in Commander, but in this format you kind of need, if you do a big mana Commander, you need it to have immediate impact for it to get a lot of wins, right? Now that's not the goal of everyone to get a lot of wins, but that's usually why people watch these videos, because they're trying to figure out how to make a competitive deck with their favorite card. This one is definitely a challenge. I'm not sure I've figured out the right deck. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not sure this is the right shell to make the deck competitive. It is the right shell to make it fun, but not so much. Gaia. We'll kill a mana creature. We keep. Oh, they didn't play. I thought they would have definitely had like a Land of War Elves or something. Not. Okay, there we go. Just trying to keep them off of ramping into a Shia. Once the Shia comes down, it turns all the creatures into lands. Panic. Don't want that coming down any earlier than it has to. Down a blocker, scry 2. Mill. What did they mill? Derek's Uprising's nice. Steam Vents and Burning Prophet. We need the lands and the mana. I think we can bottom this though. Battle of Fire Frost will clean up the board, but it won't kill Ashaya. Because Ashaya is base, unless they cast it early. Okay, I was gonna say if they don't have enough lands, then Ashaya will be a 4/4. But if they have enough lands, then Ashaya will be a 5/5 no matter what. So this won't kill it. There you go. There's their 5th land. So we will be able to kill this really annoying thing though. So that's good. Back. Ramp. Mono green things. Next turn they play Ashaya. Not taking have to. We have one. This turn's going to be big for them. They're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff. They're going to have probably 2 gigantic creatures down. We'll see. Yep, 9/9. So.
I protect that which cannot protect itself.
I was hoping they minus.
Rise, my
Oh, I guess
friend.
they can't minus. Different Nissa. Okay, well, that's actually good because now it's going to destroy their land when I battle Fire and Frost. It's not going to destroy Ashaya, but this is definitely pretty gross. Now, there is an argument to freeze in place because we can tap this down. I mean, this is funny because it's blowing up their land, but they're getting double mana anyway from Nissa. This doesn't hit Planeswalkers. So really, freeze in place might be the better card. It also blows up our blocker. Bet we didn't have... I don't think we had mana up to... Oh, no, it's instant sorcery. Never mind. Couldn't have countered it anyway. So the thing is, like, do we just let them have all this mana and they only have a couple cards in hand? Probably, right? Way too early for a log. Bummer. If we had one more mana, I could keep it. I could keep it as the second card and then Neera into it, but can't. This will keep Ashaya from attacking me, so that's pretty good. But they're gonna play this guy here. It'll be just as big. Green Warden. Yep. Urgent. Having a bunch of mana is okay as long as they don't have stuff to play with it. Nissa.
The land fights for us.
Yep. So now we really want a mass bounce spell. Still have 25 life, so we're not dead yet. Very soon though, we will be dead. I think we're on minimum a 2-turn clock. Okay. No blocks. Actually, I probably should have blocked because it's going to die no matter what. Oh, Time Warp. Okay. That gives us a chance. Consuming Tide. Consuming Tide. Yep. Wait, what? Wait, what? Oh, they're all lands. Oh! They're all land. Okay. Shit. Owned. It's definitely worth an oops. Okay, so normally this would have been awesome. But one of my favorite parts of Ashaya, this little secret tech that a lot of people forget about, including myself just now, since it turns all your creatures into lands, all these things that say non-land now don't affect it, right? So it didn't bounce anything. Yeah, with the shame scoop, I think we're good. So that would have, if it was any other, well no, because a lot of them say non-land. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, a lot of our bounce stuff says non-land, so I don't think there was actually a card in our deck that could have saved us in that situation. Wow, totally wrecked. I don't even think the other player knew why that happened. I think they just went about their business continuing to do their Timmy mono green stuff, but that was hilarious. I suffer these lessons so you don't have to. Subscribe. Yeah, there's so I used to play in Standard, I used to play an Abzan deck with Ashaya in it, and that would happen all the time. I had a Emergent Ultimatum? Oh, Eerie Ultimatum. It's the Abzan Ultimatum, when that was legal in Standard. And yeah, there was a lot of times where someone would try to target my stuff with exile target non-land permanent or something non-land blah blah blah, and it would always fizzle and they would be so confused. And that's why, because Ashaya turns all your creatures into lands, so anything that says non-land on it doesn't work. I definitely forgot about that. What are we playing? The Micro Tyrant? Bunch of Saprolings. Better hand. You get to go first. 1 land. 2 lands. Okay. We'll keep. And? Yes. Cool. So we'll have Counterspell Magic. I don't think there's anything we're gonna want to counter on their next turn. Okay, with fire, what is micro? 0/0 creatures you can. I meant to bottom this guy, but. Okay, well, I mean, it's a target for this. A little bit counterspell. We keep them off their commander. Probably doing good. Right now it would come down as a 1/1. Batterfang. Probably a good target for counterspell. Seems like that's going to make them a ton of extra tokens. Okay, well we can't do anything, right? Awkward. We have a lot of reactive stuff, though. So we'll see what they do. Sure. L3. big ramp spell, so we'll do this and scry 1 and hopefully hit a land. We have a... It's such a weird card to have in... I mean, I think we're not going to have a ton of other targets for miscast, so let's just do this now. Since it's more narrow. Cool, and we have a land on top. So that was good. We made the mill, we got rid of a card out of their hand. Still have Spell Pierce. It's early enough in the game where Spell Pierce is still a valid card. Yep. But now we're just top decking, so let's put stops so that we've countered a bunch of their stuff, so let's put stops so they think we have more. And then we know we have run out of gas. I mean, we have gas, we just not gas we can cast. That rhymes. And again, this is the tough part about this deck. I mean, we have a 6-mana commander, so typically this would be the spot in the game where you plop down your commander that has like if this card was 4 mana, this would be perfect because it's like, all right, cool, we have nothing else to do. Let's get down Neera. That's a great card. I love this card. It's super underrated. But since it's 6 mana, we're just kind of stuck waiting and hoping we get lands. Thankfully, we just hit our 5th land drop, and a lot of the stuff in our deck is... We just got this card. Golgari, man. That's a good one. That. Two. Life drop. I think that's okay. Not a land, but this is going to give us 3 treasures when we crack it, so we're like 3 turns away from having enough mana to do all the broken things in our hand, so we just kind of have to survive until then, so the 3 life is kind of nice. Have some extra turn spells and stuff, so as long as we keep dirtling, we should be okay. This is definitely a problem card that needs to go away, but doing okay. This is a tough one. I can't believe they got this back. Okay, this. Cyclonic Rift is also nice. Those are both nice. Get the Cyclonic Rift in our hand. We can take 1 hit from Vorinclex, I think. Yeah, even if they flip it, we can bounce everything with the overloaded side. But I think it's better to just try to get the mana going with Treasure Map. Take the hit. We're at 23 life. Bringing a bunch of land cards back from the graveyard, which is so fun. I love Golgari. It's if I had a second guild, right? I think my second favorite guild would be Golgari. I just love graveyard strategies. Like, infinite graveyard strategies are... There's like nothing better than like casting all your stuff and then like getting it all back. It's like you have an infinite deck. So, it's just a bummer that this player has a ton of that because we actually played really well in the beginning to get to this part of the game. And it didn't matter at all because they got it all back. That's the power of graveyard recursion. Huh? They have a ton of mana. They're not really doing anything with it. Maybe they're going to flip Vorinclex after they attack. 8 here. We could crack treasure map, or we could activate it now and then activate it again our turn to get the 3 treasures. So I'm kind of hoping they play out their stuff. So we can bounce it all. So, oh yeah, we knew we have Rhystic Study. Don't really want to get rid of that. Okay, so let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have to tap this to make 3. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? It does make 3, right? Create 3 treasure tokens. They're not tapped. Yes. Okay. We'll keep Rhystic Study. We will activate the treasure map. Sure, we'll keep the land. This turns into a land too, which is kind of nice. Now we can Cyclonic Rift on their turn. So let's do that. Let's let them play even more stuff. It's just crazy it goes to the battlefield. I guess it's tapped, but still, like, incredible value, especially with Fable Passage. Incredible value. Yeah, so I don't know what tier we're in, because they're gonna swing. I wanted them to play out a bunch of stuff first. But we could always ambush them with Hullbreaker Horror, but they might have a bunch of removal in their hand. And then we essentially lose our tempo. Is this lethal? 8, 10, 16. It is lethal, so we have to act. Well, I think this is our best play. We have a land on top, so we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 next turn. All that stuff goes back to their hand. They still have all this mana to replay whatever they want, but they're not going to have as big of a board as they had. And they're going to have to discard some of this stuff. Now they're going to be able to get it back because they have a bunch of graveyard recursion, but that's just a bunch of steps they're going to have to go through to get their board back to the way it was. And hopefully by then we can, like, Emrakul or something, you know? I would definitely play Vorinclex if I was them. If you don't want to, that's fine. Okay. So, do they have lethal? Creatures you control. 6, 8, 10, 11. So they definitely could have lethal if they play some creatures and make this guy bigger. We don't really want to play Rhystic Study. We could flash in Hullbreaker Horror. And we have nothing to back it up if they have a removal spell. Play Neera. I think we're just going to flash in Hullbreaker. That's, I think, the best play. They could have a removal spell, which would suck, but... hopefully, if they're going to go for lethal, they'll play out a bunch of stuff first to try to make Micro Tyrant big, and then they won't have mana to play a removal spell. But we'll find out. Okay. I think they're going for lethal. This makes microtime bigger, doesn't it? No? Oh, fungi or saplings. Oh, fungi. But these all are, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, they had one more. Okay, well, let's see how they. And this is 8 toughness, so we'll see how they attack. They attack all. Attack all, huh? What is the thing that needs to die the most? Oh yeah, and then if they die, then we have to sacrifice a creature. This lethal? 10. Sorry, my brain. 13. 16. Alright, well, we don't have a choice. So if this is gonna die anyway, might as well block their commander, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One short of playing this Anoristic Study. I think that's it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One short of playing Emrakul. Yep. Gee. Alright. I'll play one more. I usually don't like playing a whole video and not winning at least one game, but we've been close a couple times, but I'm just thinking this deck is not it needs a refresh. It needs to be, now that I've played a couple games, I think I need to go back and make it put in a little bit more generic staples. Maybe we take out all the scry effects, or a lot of the, maybe some of the like kind of, you know, raft shaft scry effects, and replace those with is it staples, right? And then we keep in the scry effects that we can do over and over, like treasure map, which we saw in this game, and that will make the deck more competitive. I don't typically like doing that. I like to try to build them as I would like a commander deck, where it's synergistic with the strategy of the deck, but it's really hard in this format to win, first of all, but also to take a off-the-shelf commander and make it good, unless you add in Perforos. All right, I haven't seen Perforos in forever. Perforos is essentially sneak attack on a commander. They get to cheat in creatures, so it's probably just going to be giant creatures. Disdainful Stroke is a good one. One Ring is good. Okay. Let's try that again. Too bad, too. That would have been a cool game. I should build a Perforos deck. I think, there's a wording on Perforos where you basically can't cheat in Eldrazi. I forget exactly what it says, but it's like non-colorless creatures or something like that. We're playing Gissa and Golf. Zombie deck. Or zombie. Well, this will be a good blocker. Okay. These will probably kill a couple zombies. It won't kill their commander. But, if I use them together, it will. Lapse. I think we just get down Wall of Runes. We'll see if they're removal heavy. I mean, they do have black, but... if they want to waste a removal spell on my Wall of Runes, that's fine. We at least get a good blocker down and get to scry. Yeah, see, like they played Dar, so now we can block their zombie every turn. Let's do it like this. We'll have to get rid of this eventually, especially if they start, yeah, we'll keep that. Especially if they start, doing the thing where they sacrifice stuff for value, then we're definitely gonna have to get rid of this, because this gives them a free thing to sacrifice every time. It has Death Touch. I have Death Touch. This? Okay, so we'll just take this one. It's gonna die. They don't have any, like, sacrifice value stuff right now. For you. I think we'll just pop this. Take one more hit from the zombie, it'll go away forever. Non-token creature and Pokemon controls would die, exile instead. Press another Empire zombie, put it. Blocks. Probably not in this matchup. Only does 3, which is a bummer. It is an instant. We can see what they play. I mean, we have Jawari Disruption for their commander if they don't have another land. Or we can kill something at instant speed and scry 1. I think we'll just pass. They may make the mistake of playing their commander before they play a land. Which they don't. Oh, 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 wait. You gonna do it? Yeah. Okay. I may not have won a game this episode, but I did Jawari Disruption someone's commander. So to me, that's a win. Let's see what they do here. Act with both, huh? I really wish I could kill this. Done. Block, right? I mean, I guess they'll gain life, but I'm not gonna take the damage. We have negate and memory lapse. Would you like to draw that? Didn't command. Okay, they put it on the top of their library. Smart. If they put it back in command, it would have cost 2 more again, so it would have cost 4 more than 8. Alright. Okay, well. Keep going. I think they forgot to attack last turn. They were so frustrated that I memory lapsed their commander. Now it costs 8. Don't forget to attack, opponent. Okay. You should. They have lost out on 6 life that they could have gained. Right, now we have double blockers. And Consuming Tide if we need it. Let's put stops just to make them nervous. If we draw a land, we can play Neera. Okay, Black Cat, discard a card. Oh, if it dies, I discard a card at random. Alright. Good one. Don't attack again. They've lost out on 9 life they could have gained. Upkeep stop. Let's activate this ability. Resolve. Done. Top off. Resolve. Draw the land. Okay, my commander. Okay, so now we can do the thing where we scry, see what's on top. Then mill 4 cards. They get to play zombies out of their graveyard. There's no great attack for them. I mean, they could attack with Black Cat and hopefully make me discard something, but resolve that. Lear's nice. Let's activate this ability. See if there's anything great on top. There isn't. What's my great? A lot of stuff. Okay. So we'll keep the land on top since we're gonna draw it. We'll play Lear. We'll decline. We could hit something, we could not hit something, but I feel like Lear is better value. And we'll just hold up this stuff. Card at random, not really what we want to do. Now they're going to be able to start doing their thing. Playing zombies from their graveyard, but we have a board, so we're not, you know, we're not in a bad state. They could have removal, like I said, but they haven't played any removal yet. And just based off what they've done so far, I think they don't think they're playing that much. It's like, looks like it's a lot of creatures. The Consuming Tide will be pretty funny. We don't want this to die, so we can block it with Wall of Runes. It does have Death Touch for some reason. This just innately happens. No, it's being given Death Touch by something. Skeletons and zombies. Gotcha. I think I hear my kid coming upstairs. Not really what we want. Do we just flip a random card? Or do we just get rid of their thing? Let's flip a random card. Yeah, I think Shark Typhoon's a nice one. Okay. One sec. And had to get her set up with some cartoons. Yeah. One. Done. Do this for future turns. Okay, so I think we're pretty well set up now. Yeah, I mean that seems like the right play. Fuck. Locks. Take it for now. How's that? So we could play Leer. And then have double Cyclonic Rift up. Play Neera again. I think the best play, they're gonna want to play out all their zombies. But let's let them do that. And then Cyclonic Rift them. I mean it's not like the cool play, you know? It's like, you know, Cyclonic Rift, but it is the best play. It is the best play. Because then we'll also make a, I think we'll make a 7/7 flying shark. Maybe it's just a 2. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this works. Overload. Yep. Huh? They are gonna get triggers. 3 mana. Okay. Yep. Oh, we make it 2/2. Okay, they get rid of Leer. That's a bummer, but not the worst. It would have been nice if they'd made me discard my commander. Put it back in command. Let's scry. Or, yeah, actually, yes. Because we'll draw that. We can Neera, try again, try 2. They're going to have to discard now, which it doesn't really affect them too much because their whole deck is about bringing stuff back from the graveyard, so they should just discard all the creatures. No, they got rid of some artifacts and stuff too. Weird. Okay. Not really what we want. Does work with Shark Typhoon. Oh. I think we just Neera and do this and tuck it on the bottom. Flip a random card. Sure. It gives us a 2/2, so it's not like the worst thing ever, right? We can also crack it to draw a card, so we can do that on their turn though. Yep. I think they're just gonna try to drain me out, which definitely is a smart strategy at this point. Back this. Don't need the extra mana, right? Problem. A bunch of land. More lands. Okay. This is awkward. We don't have anything that we can play legally. Off it. Not really it. Anything else we can do? So we don't really, that's tricky because if we block they die, which means we get drained. We really don't want them to die, so we kind of want to block their creatures if they attack with our 2 big toughness creatures. Yeah, and they might just drain me. If they have 6 creatures, they're going to drain me out. Nice, yeah. Card a card at rand. Hopefully it's that. Okay, they can only do that once though. Fleshbag Marauder, resolve. Thankfully we have a lot of creatures to sack. Midnight Clock. Okay, that'll give us a thing and a trigger, so that's nice. Take action. Darks. We'll get more triggers with Neera, right? I don't know if that's gonna... Oh boy. Okay. Guess it'd be you, right? Okay, cool. Something. We could start getting rid of their black mana. Okay. I don't know if I would have won that game if it got played out, but we did it, boys. We did it. Oh my god. So yeah, since this was their strategy to play black creatures to drain me out, I was gonna try to get rid of their black mana, and leave them with nothing but blue sources. But I still don't think, because they would have had one, even if I got rid of these 2 swamps, 1, 2, 3, it would have definitely slowed them down, for sure. It would have definitely slowed them down. I'm surprised they scooped. I mean, they have stuff like Fleshbag Marauder. Isn't that a zombie? Couldn't they just, with their commander, keep playing the Fleshbag Marauder and make me sack the Ulamog? I think they scooped kind of early. I think they actually had a way around the Ulamog. But hey, we won a match. That's I'm packing up my cards. I'm putting them in my car. I'm going home with the W. All right. Yeesh. So, like I said, I think this deck could use a little construction, a little better construction is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I'm tired. It's like I've been up since 4 a.m. It could use some better cards. That's what I'm trying to say. First of all, I don't know why, but there's all these like snarls and stuff in here. We need to take those out. I realize that there's no fetch lands in this mana base, and I copied it from another. I copied the mana base from another deck, so I got to. One way to upgrade this immediately would be put in all the fetches, right? So normally I'm really good about doing that. I just forgot on this mana base. So do that, put in all the fetches. And then like we talked about, maybe we just take out some of the, like what's a good example? We take out, like impede momentum here, right? Not that it's not like a decent card in a blue deck that doesn't have great removal options, but the ability to scry repeatedly, like with Glistener Seer, I think we saw how Glistener Seer was really good in this deck. That's what we want in the deck. The one-stop answers like freeze in place and stuff like that, not great. So I think if we just take out those cards, those are probably at least 10 cards in the deck that are in that category, and we could replace them with like 10 is it staples. I think this deck would be a whole lot better. So if you really want to get, play Neera, you like this kind of deck, I think that would be a great place to start. Add the fetches in and all the fetchable things, and get rid of like some of these. Like, this is okay, but there's better cards. That's what I'm saying. Like, these cards aren't bad, but they're just they're not as good as the better is it staples. So I put in a couple of those. Like, I have Rhystic Study in here and stuff like that, but yeah, I think that would immediately make the deck better. And then you wouldn't have to change too much else. I would just start there, add the fetches, swap out those 10 cards, and then see how the deck plays, and go from there. But yeah, that's the deck. Thank you to the viewer who suggested it. It was really fun. It was an interesting deck building challenge for sure. I don't think I got it right on the first time, but that's the beauty of deck building. You build it, play it, find out what's wrong with it, rebuild it, play it, So let my deck building mistakes be, ones that you don't have to make. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Join the Discord if you want to. If you want to suggest a deck, hop in there, say hello to everyone. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.